Hey everybody, this is Anthony's Horror More, and today we're going to talk about a smile. So put a smile on your fucking face. Alright? So, yeah, I saw Smile yesterday, and I gotta say, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. Um, really good acting, directing, very good. It actually had a really great sound design to it. This is a movie I highly recommend going to the theater for, because because the score is really good, but it almost feels like just the way it is in the theater with the surround sound. There are times where it like almost feels like it's in your ear. You know what I mean? Like that's how eerie and weird. Like you can hear little noises over to your left, to your right. Like you just hear all these little noises everywhere from the surround sound stuff. It's just, I don't know, it's different, you know. I haven't experienced that in too many movies where it's just like these little tiny like clicks and noise and stuff. It really adds to like the creepiness factor of it. So that was really cool. But yeah, Smile stars Sosie Bacon. That's Kevin Bacon's daughter, actually. And she's the lead in this, and she plays like a psychiatrist, and she witnesses something very traumatic. And now she is starting to hallucinate, or so she thinks, seeing these terrible things, in front of her and everything. And I'm not gonna spoil anything right now. I'm gonna try my best to, and then towards, the back half of the review, I'll drop some spoilers in there. But right now, I know this is a very fresh movie, so I'm just doing non-spoilers. But yeah, she starts to witness all this weird stuff. And this movie, it's very interesting because it kind of feels like a mixture of a lot of other movies. It has like some elements, and I'm not spoiling anything by saying this, it just has certain elements from each of these movies, but it has certain elements from It Follows. It has certain elements from It, just, Pennywise. Don't worry, there's no fucking clown in there. But it has elements from The Happening, which I know some people are like, The fucking Happening, really? I'm like, yeah, it does. It does have some elements from that. Yeah, it's an interesting film. It definitely has, a lot of different elements from other films that I've noticed, kind of combining them all together. It's just what I noticed from watching it. I'm like, oh, that reminds me of that. That reminds me of that. You know what I mean? The directing is really well done. This is this guy's first real directing debut too. The only other thing, what's his name? I gotta always keep the names on hand because I have like a bad memory for, especially because a lot of these people are like, like I don't know. I don't think Sosie Bacon's done a ton of stuff that I've seen. I think this is maybe she's done a couple things. Maybe I've seen her and I just didn't know it because I didn't realize she was Kevin Bacon's daughter until I saw her last name or whatever, and she's actually leading this film. So I was like, oh, Sosie Bacon, I wonder if that's Kevin Bacon's. And then I looked into it, and I'm like, sure enough, Kevin Bacon's daughter. But the director is Parker Finn, and he's only done 2 shorts and then this movie. And I'll tell you, for a debut, man, he did a really good job for a debut film, especially. Like, holy crap, I gotta give him a lot of credit. He's gonna probably be big. I think he's gonna go places because he did do a very well job of because he also wrote this, by the way, so he wrote and directed it. So he's definitely going places. This is a hell of a debut. And I think it's getting pretty good word of mouth too, so that's good. But yeah, he does a lot of those shots. It kind of reminded me of the beginning of the movie Devil, M. Night Shyamalan. I know M. Night Shyamalan didn't direct it, but I think he wrote Devil. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of Devil, where or even even Panic Room, I think, did the same thing too, where it's like some of the shots they like flip the camera and things are like upside down, you know, like upside down houses and upside down, but like it will like kind of flip the camera up. Like it did some of those like type shots, just really interesting. You know, I like it because he kept it fresh. I like it when a director keeps things, he doesn't just like sit the camera down there and do like basic shots. He like, you know, he's finding different angles on even just simple things like her opening up a can of cat food. You know, he goes like right in on it as she opens it and spills the cat food out. Like just making things a little bit more interesting that normally wouldn't be interesting. You know what I mean? Like I like that in a director. You know, if it's just a simple shot, there's no reason why you can't make it somewhat interesting to follow. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really good. What else? So yeah, so really good directing, great sound design, really eerie, creepy score. I like the score a lot. And yeah, the writing I thought was done well. I thought the writing was pretty good. If I had to kind of nitpick this movie a little bit, I would say that I think it's a little too long. I think some of the scenes could have been trimmed down a bit. I don't blame him for that. That's an editing thing. I think the film could have been edited, you know, just a little bit better. You probably could have, you know, chopped some things down a bit here or there, because this movie's an hour and 55 minutes. That's long for a horror movie. I don't mind longer horror movies. It's not like it's, you know, the end of the world, but I usually like a nice like hour and a half to hour and 45 minutes, unless you're really, some movies can do it, you know what I mean? But you know, like The Shining can get away with being longer, you know, it's just so, you know, and there's certain horror movies, or even the follow-up to The Shining, was it, yeah, even the follow-up to The Shining, now I'm drawing a blank on the movie, but even that was long, especially if you watch the director's cut. That's like an extra 30 minutes added onto it. So some movies, you know, can kind of get away with the longer, but this one I just feel like it kind of, you know, it didn't need to be that long. I feel like there were some scenes that kind of went on a little bit too long. It's like, okay, I get it. You know, you could have trimmed it down. And, you know, Dr. Sleep, God, that was going to drive me crazy until I thought, I was like, I know it's sleep. It's something sleep. What is it? Dr. Sleep. Yeah, Dr. Sleep, The Shining, you know, those movies, like, you know, The Shining is 2 hours and 26 minutes. You know, Dr. Sleep is probably around the same. It was 2 hours and 32 minutes. So even longer. And then the extended version's like 3 hours, you know. But those movies, you know, the pacing's so well done and things are just, you know, clicky. Everything's firing on all cylinders, so you don't really notice that. This movie, you kind of notice it a bit. With Smile, you kind of notice the pacing, like, okay, let's speed it up a little bit, you know. But, you know, it's not the end of the world. I mean, it's like kind of a, you know, a nitpick, a minor gripe or whatever. And I've only seen the movie once, so maybe if I watch it again, you know, I'll feel differently about it. There's another film actually called which not a lot of people discuss, but it's called The Empty Man, and that has a super long runtime too. Yeah, that's 2 hours and 17 minutes. That's a really great movie as well. Check that one out. But that one's kind of, and the only reason I was thinking of The Empty Man is because it's kind of, this movie is kind of a mystery as well as like a horror movie. It's like a mystery horror, so, you know, she's trying to figure out what's going on, and, you know, what's you know, what is making people, you know, hurt themselves or kill themselves or whatever, you know what I mean, without getting into spoilers, but like what's making people do these, you know, horrendous things. There's like this mystery aspect to it, which I thought was really good. And The Empty Man also has like that same thing, that kind of mystery horror type, you know, slow burn. Like, you know, Smile was a slow burn, but done well, you know what I mean? But let's see. getting back to the actors here, you have Kyle Gallner, who he's been in a million horror movies. He was in Scream 2022. He was in A Nightmare on Elm Street remake. He was in Red State, Kevin Smith's horror movie. He was in The Cleansing Hour, which is a movie you've probably never heard of, but that's actually really good. Go check out The Cleansing Hour. He's the lead in that one. He's one of the leads. There's like two guys. He's one of the leads. He's great in that movie as well. He's in Jennifer's Body. He also played Bart Allen in Smallville, so he was like the Flash character in Smallville. He's been in a ton of shit. Really good actor. And so when I saw him, and he was so underutilized in Scream 2022. God, it pisses me off. You know, they fucking kill his, and it's barely even a spoiler. Like, he's literally in the movie. He's got like, you know, 2 scenes, and they're very throwaway. He just plays like the dickhead character, and then he gets fucking killed. I mean, what a waste of a great actor. It really bummed me out. But he's in this, and he, you know, plays one of the supporting characters, but he's in it a good amount. So he was great. Really like his character as Joel. He played Joel. And then you have Jesse T. Usher as Trevor, and he plays the fiance of hers. And you know, he's also the actor that plays A-Train. If you watch The Boys, he plays A-Train. And he was good. He's a little, those are the scenes that I'm kind of talking about with his character, like her and her husband, that get a little repetitive, and it gets a little like, okay, we get it. You know, it kind of goes into like some of those like same horror tropes where it's like he doesn't believe her and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? It kind of goes into that whole thing, and it's just, I don't know. I just didn't really like him in the role. I'll be honest. He felt a little flat. I just didn't really. He was fine. He didn't really have a lot to do, but the scenes with him in it are kind of like some of the worst in the movie. It's like, okay, you know, I think that's kind of where the pacing was stunted a bit. You know, you can let me know if you agree, if you've seen the movie, but that's kind of what I'm talking about, where it's like, oh god, we got to go through this, like that, you know what I mean? It's like. And he was fine. I mean, he's not a bad actor or anything. It wasn't vibing with me, you know what I mean? The chemistry didn't really feel like it was there either. But it was okay, you know. Kind of, like I said, kind of nitpicks, little gripes, but it does kind of affect the pacing of this movie. Which is a big deal, you know. Pacing is when you're doing a slow burn type movie. I love a good slow burn. I really do. The Empty Man, which I just brought up, which is a really good horror movie. Go watch it. Really good horror mystery movie. But nobody fucking knows about it because it got like it was in theaters, you know, for not very long. It never got a physical media release because I think it's because Disney ended up acquiring 20th Century Fox, like right around the time. This is like during that merger, and Disney decided not to give it a physical media release. So the only way you can watch it is like on demand, or, you know, if it's, you know, streaming somewhere or whatever. It really sucks because it's a really good movie. I think I watched it on HBO. It's probably on HBO Max. But like, that movie has a really slow pace, but it always is keeping you interested because the mystery element is there, and it's really good. It's a good detective story. Same thing with The Shining. I'm never bored watching The Shining. I love The Shining. I can watch that all the time, never bored watching it. Same thing with Dr. Sleep. You know, it's good, even though it's long, but there's enough in there, there's enough meat on the bone to keep you interested throughout. And I felt like that's where Smile felt just a little bit short, is where it's like, I just wanted a little bit more, you know what I mean? But there were some great scenes in there. I won't spoil anything, but there's like a scene where she's going through video footage. For all of you that's seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. That was really well done. I like that. There's a scene where she's like listening on her headphones to like this recording. That was really well done. There's some good, I've heard some complaints about, I guess people are saying there's a lot of jump scares in this movie. There are some jump scares for sure. But I thought they were all well done. They built up to the jump scare really well. You know, one of them was like, it got me. I was like, holy shit. Because like I said, the sound design for this movie, especially if you see it in the theater, is like really good. So when it happened, it was like, it got me. It did. It scared the shit out of me. It really got me. And I won't spoil that, but you'll know when it happens. And then there's a couple, like, I guess you could call them cheap jump scares, but I didn't even really think they were, I don't know, they're fine. For the most part, most of the scares, I think, are earned. Maybe there's a couple cheap ones here or there. There are some, like, comedic moments that I don't know if they're intended to be comedic moments. They're kind of like, I think if you have like a dark sense of humor like me, you might find a couple of the scenes funny. You know, or it's just like, I don't know, there's just something, maybe it's the way it's shot, it is linger on things too long or whatever. But there were definitely like a couple scenes in this movie that were a little like funny, but I don't know if they were intended to be, but they were a little, like, just a little funny. But you know, I don't know. So that was good, but it was interesting, and there's some good gore in there. There's some good effects and stuff in there. I thought everything was done pretty well. It's just really like the pacing, just at times, you know, you can feel it. You know what I mean? You might look at your watch a couple times. You know, that was just me though. Like I said, I've only seen it once, so don't hang me to the fucking cross yet, or nail me to the fucking cross yet. You know what I mean? If you love the movie, like I would like, you know, I'm definitely gonna buy this. You know, the 4K's already been announced. I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna watch it a couple more times, and you know, see, it might just keep going up. I would probably give this a solid 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. So I think that's pretty damn good. You know, I thought it ended really well. You know, I thought it had a really solid ending. I liked it. There's another scene that, where she goes to a prison, or she visits someone in a prison. That was also really well done. I like that scene a lot. There's a lot of good scenes. Most of the stuff was good. It was just there's little spots where I'm just like, okay, let's get going. You know what I mean? Like, I've had enough. Like, there's also, like, she has, like, a sister in this movie, and the sister's kind of a bitch, you know, or whatever, and, you know, that can get a little repetitive, too. It's like, okay, I get it, she doesn't like her sister, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I get it, but, there is a scene with her sister that's also really fun, so it's not always bad, you know, but yeah, so now I think I'll get into spoilers, like I said. You know, I'll give this a solid, like, probably 7.5, leaning more towards an 8, you know, out of 10, somewhere around there. So I guess I should say more like I guess let's just call it an 8. Let's just say it's an 8 out of 10, okay? I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Now, going into spoilers. Bah. Get the fuck out of here. Go watch the movie and then come back if you want. Just maybe leave me a like and a subscribe, and comment down below what you think about the movie after you go see it. So yeah, getting into spoilers, and so the whole thing about this movie is it's all about trauma, you know. That's the theme, you know, something traumatic happens to you, and it lingers and it festers, and, you know, it ends up, you know, like coming out in this like demon entity, whatever this thing is, you know, and that's where I was talking about, like, it reminds me of, like, It Follows, where it's, like, it's constantly coming at you, and it can take different forms and all this type of stuff. I thought all that was really cool. For a second, I was like, is this the It Follows director? I was like, is this the same fucking guy? And then I looked it up, where I was like, okay, no, it's not. But, yeah, because it does feel similar in that way. And then when I said it's like The Happening, it's like people are like offing themselves, you know, like you see in the security cam footage, the guy like stabs himself like outside the gas station, and you just see all these, you know, the lady at the beginning slashes her own jugular and fucking bleeds out all over the place. So you see all that stuff. and then it passes it along. Oh, that was the other. I knew there was a fourth movie that this reminded me of, The Fallen, or whatever, with Denzel Washington. That's the other movie that it reminds me of too, because it like passes on to the other person. And then I said it reminded me of, The Happening is because it's people like that seemingly are just killing themselves, but you don't know the reason why, And then why I mentioned Pennywise or whatever is because this thing feeds on fear and trauma and stuff like that. So it's kind of got a little bit of that, Pennywise factor where it like feeds, on your worst fears and all the trauma that you've been through your whole life. But it's really there's like one key moment of trauma that it's really hard, feeding off of. And I thought that was cool. And I liked the ending of this movie too. I liked it seems like she overcomes her trauma. She goes in there, she burns her fucking house down, or at least she thinks she burns her house down. But really the creature or whatever it is just like inside of her head already. So it's just making her think she's doing these things, but she's really not. And sure enough, her boyfriend or, her ex-boyfriend comes in there, tries to save the day, ends up seeing her there, and that creepy scene where she like turns around and she's smiling, and then she's covered herself in gasoline, and she got the box of matches and she sets herself on fire. She's ablaze, and you find out like, oh, it was all in her head. She didn't really get away or do any of that type of shit. So it was too late. I think she could have overcame her trauma if maybe she had just figured it out a little bit faster. But I like the more depressing ending. I'll be honest with you. I like the more like tragic ending, like where it's just like, oh God, and now it passes on to her ex-boyfriend. And I don't know, if they want to do a sequel, I think it would be interesting, like to see him carry on. I like that actor a lot. I think he could handle it. But I thought that was really well done. I thought it looked great. I thought the creature looked great when it pulls its fucking face back like this, and there's all those smiling faces and all those teeth and everything. I thought that looked fantastic. And I loved how it was shot too. Going back to the directing again, I love how it like zooms in on the boyfriend's eye, and you see her burning and all that. I thought that was really well done. So I liked all that stuff. All that stuff was good. I forgot to mention it in the other part, but Kal Penn plays Dr. Morgan Desai. Kal Penn is Kumar from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. I love, every time I see him in something, it always puts a smile on my face, because I always think of Kumar, but he's good. He's a really good actor. Every movie or show, because he was in like a couple seasons of House as well. If you ever watched House, House MD or whatever, the medical show, the doctor show or whatever. He was in that. He was really good in that. He's been in quite a few things, but he's a really great actor. So I was happy to put a smile on my face to see Kal Penn in the movie. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. It's always hard doing these because, I'm trying to do like a spoiler-free review, and I just do it off the top of my head. The only thing I kind of try to research is, like, I try to pull up the names of people and stuff so I can give them credit, because I have a hard time remembering all these, because a lot of these guys are like TV actors. Some are movie actors, but you just don't see them all the time. And then I wanted to make sure I had the director, his name too, because this is the only movie he's directed. The other two things he did, he's done were shorts. So Parker Finn, great job, man. Honestly. But the cast was great. The supporting cast was great. There were a lot of creepy moments when she walks into that room and that guy's smiling and he's like, "You're gonna die. You're gonna die. You're gonna die." That was kind of one of those dark, funny moments in a way, because it was just like the expression on the guy's face as he's saying that is just kind of fun. It's creepy, but it's funny at the same time. That was really a great scene. The scene where speaking of Cal Penn, the scene where she's hallucinating. She's thinking about, like, because in order to pass this on, you have to kill somebody. You have to kill someone in front of another person so that they get the trauma passed to them. And I didn't want to say any of this in the spoiler-free review because I feel like that's all spoiler stuff. I don't want to get into any of that. It's better if you just experience it on your own. So I didn't want to talk too much about that kind of stuff. But when she's that scene where she's thinking about doing it, and then she's like in her head, she's like stabbing the guy, and then the doctor walks in, Cal Penn's character. And he's just like, "Oh my God, what's that? What are you doing? What are you doing?" Like, just the look on his face was pretty funny. And maybe it's just because I know him as Kumar or whatever, but he just had like that really goofy look on his face, like, "What?" I don't know. That was kind of like a dark but funny moment because just that look on his face when he's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, so that was great too. And then when like he chases her down to the car, and then he peels back his face. He peels back his whole face, and he's like, that was really creepy too. A lot of great shots and stuff like that. A lot of the directing all the like effects and everything that went into this too looked great. So whoever did the effects, they should be proud too, because it looks really well done. It looks great. All the creature effects, all that like blood, gore, all that different stuff looked really good. But yeah, I think that's about it. I think that's it. I really enjoyed the movie. I liked the way it ended. I like that dark ending. Also kind of reminds me of It Follows in a way, because it's like, oh, it's still lingering, because at the end, well, I don't want to spoil It Follows, but, if you've seen It Follows, you know what I mean? Like, where it's like, is it really gone, or is it going to keep coming? You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those, so I like that a lot. They could definitely do a sequel to this, and I think it would be fun. I thought they should have done a sequel to It Follows, too. It really bums me out that they never did. I mean, maybe it's for the best, but fuck, I love It Follows. I hope someday they go back to it and do a sequel. But yeah, guys, I think that's about it. I just wanted to give my thoughts on Smile. Like I said, I saw it yesterday. It was a good theater experience, too. Everybody in the theater was like, there were some moments where they're like, like, you could, like, audible gasp. You could actually hear people like, oh my God, because there were those moments that were just, like, so fucked up and creepy, and people were, like, really into the movie. So it was a fun theater experience. I definitely highly recommend going to see this in the theater. But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much a blast all the way through. I had my little minor nitpicks here and there, whatever, but you guys let me know down below if you've seen the movie. Please, I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've seen Smile. I know it just came out, so, I don't expect, like, everybody to be commenting already, but, yeah, if you've seen it, please let me know what you thought about it. And please, hit the like button, subscribe, all that bullshit, And this is Anthony's Horror More, and I appreciate you guys watching as always, and I'll catch you on the next time. Peace out.